Okay, so here's every single program I wrote in 2025. So I wanted to do this after seeing this video from the creator Isaac, who did it and kind of went through what he made in the year essentially. It's kind of like Wrapped, like Spotify Wrapped, that thing. It's kind of like that, but for programming, which is kind of cool. So I can go through all the stuff that I did. So I didn't code as much in my free time this year compared to other years. There are a multitude of reasons for that. It was a hectic year to say the least. Because of this, it kind of led to a cycle of me being good at programming, then getting rusty, coming back, having to de-rust, and then leaving again and losing all my knowledge. Well, not all of it, but a good chunk of it. But enough rambling from me. Let's get into the first project. So the first program is my extension tidytube. I did not create this year. I created it last year, but this is a continuation of what I started last year, essentially. I added some new features, fixed some bugs and stuff, and kept it going. If you don't know what this extension is, it's my browser extension that cleans up a bunch of YouTube's UI, so you can remove a bunch of stuff. Specifically in the search is really messy. That was my main reason for making it, and then I kind of expanded it into other parts of YouTube. You can get rid of shorts, you can get rid of all sorts of stuff. So if you're pretty unhappy with YouTube's UI and you want to just declutter it a bit, then this is probably a good extension for you. I didn't add too much new stuff to it this year. I kind of just maintained it essentially and just kept it going. Now the next thing I made was an attempt. I didn't finish it, it's an attempt. It was a tic-tac-toe game in C. Here's how much progress I made. Yeah, not very much. It was kind of just an idea I had of something simple I could do in C since I started learning it for school. Clearly it wasn't that easy since I only got this far with it. Yeah, maybe I'll finish it at some point. Don't know. Next is a bunch of Java stuff. Not because I particularly wanted to write Java or particularly like it, but I had to do it for school again. I had to do a bunch of random exercises as school makes you do. And it did teach me a little bit about setting up Java environments and stuff like that. So I guess that was kind of fun. Not sure if I'll ever use it again though. At some point later in the year, I decided to make a CLI tool to merge PDFs together. I don't remember why. I think I needed it for one specific thing, so I just made a script to do it instead of using those PDF mergers. It didn't take that long actually, but I don't think I ended up using it after this point. So there's that. But PDFs will come back later, so keep this one in mind. The next thing I made was a browser extension called Remove AI Overview, which I think the name is pretty self-explanatory. It removes the AI overview sections from Google search because again, Google, they can't stop destroying their products. So I had to take it into my own hands to try and fix it. That's what I tried to do. And it's working pretty well. It's got a pretty good user base actually, and people are pretty happy with it. I made a whole separate video detailing the process of me making this. So if you want to watch that, here's the video. But yeah, this was probably my biggest project of the year. Not really the extension part, but mainly the website and getting everything on the back end kind of working. It was good fun. I got more practice with hosting and VPS stuff and Docker and all that kind of thing. So that was quite fun. The next thing is another unfinished project. I started on a personal website, but again, I didn't get very far. Here's what I ended up with. Yeah, it's not great. I'm someone who's really into music, so I wanted to have a music section on this site and have all the albums I've listened to as those little spheres, and then you can kind of click around and see info about the albums and how I rated them and stuff like that. But obviously I didn't get that far into this project, maybe next year. It was essentially just me testing out Three.js and Astro, or that's kind of what it ended up being. But I think it is quite a cool idea. I haven't really seen anyone do that before, so we'll see. Sticking with the music topic, the next project I made was something called Learnlog. I say made, but I didn't finish it. Again, another unfinished project. I think we're starting to see a bit of a trend here. So this project was essentially a place where I could put a link to a YouTube video. Ideally, this would be a YouTube video of a song, and then it would give me a section of the song that I wanted to learn. Say if I heard a really cool guitar lick, or if someone played a really cool solo, or they had some cool chords, I wanted to have one place to keep track of all of those musical ideas, essentially. The idea was that you have this list here, which shows you all the stuff that you need to learn, and then you can press this button, and it will send it over to a pile of stuff that you've already learned. So you can kind of have it as a songs I need to learn, and then songs that I've already learned, and kind of have it split up that way. So that's what this was meant to be. Didn't finish it, but maybe I'll finish it at some point. The next thing I made, or I should say contributed to, was not actually my program originally, and this was a program called Last.timer. Now recently this year I've gotten into Last.fm, which is essentially a website that tracks what you listen to. I'm really into music. So it makes sense that I got into this. It's a shame I didn't have it earlier. I only got it at the end of last year, but it has been a really cool tool to see all of my listening habits across the year. So if you want to see my last FM, here it is. You can have a look at it or follow me. I don't really mind. That would be quite cool. So this is a website created by P. McDonough 8133. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. This is a handy little program which organizes your listening data based on how long you spend listening to each artist. I thought it was quite cool and I used it a little bit last year, and I saw there was an issue. Someone asked if it was possible to export the data to CSV files, and I thought that was something I'd be able to implement. So I forked it and gave it a go. I was able to do it and it got merged back into the program. So here's how it was before my contribution, and here's how it is after the contribution. So this was a nice project to help out with. It gave me a chance to work with pure JavaScript as well, which is something that I don't really do that often. So yeah, good experience for this. Now we're coming full circle back to the PDFs from earlier. So as someone who's really into music, I'm in quite a lot of bands. And for one particular band, I was tasked with writing a bunch of sheet music for a gig in particular. And yeah, it took a while, but that isn't what I used coding for in this case. Essentially, I had a bunch of different songs, all with instrument parts in individual folders. So I had one folder for each song and all of the parts for that song in each folder individually. But what I wanted was to take all of the parts for, let's say, piano for all the songs and put that on one PDF instead of having to go through all the different folders and find the piano PDF. So in order to do that, I solved it with a script. Why not? So I used the handy PyMu PDF library that I used earlier in the year to make the CLI tool, but this time I used it for this. It worked super well. It didn't take very long to write and it was super effective, so that was a nice fun thing that I wrote near the end of the year. There were no other really big projects that I kind of worked on this year, but for next year I do want to try and make some bigger projects similar to my browser extensions again, but we'll just have to wait till 2026 to see what I do, and hopefully I can upload a bit more on this channel as well. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching, and hopefully I will see you in 2026 with more programming videos.